go. It doesn't matter.
Put a pin in it, as they say in the world of wrestling. Oh, I never reached out to are looking phenomenal. I didn't reach out to our hype man. Welcome to the Queen of the North. That's the only catchphrase I got. Welcome to Putting You Over. Can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yo, you sound and look phenomenal.
Perfect. How are you all doing?
We're doing good. Cold. It's cold here in New York, upstate, and Vanessa's in Canada. It's colder, but different. What is it? What do we say? Fahrenheit up there? Celsius? I don't know. It's 3 degrees here, and she said negative 14 there.
Ugh.
So
when I just left Alaska last, it was negative 38.
That's that's cold.
Yeah.
Oh my.
That's when it gets so cold that Celsius and Fahrenheit are the same.
Oh my God. I can't even imagine. Yeah, so like we said, Queen of the North, obviously. You don't get much norther. You don't get much norther than Alaska, which is where you're from. What's the wrestling scene like there? Because we've talked to one other person from up there.
It's super small, honestly. Yeah. There's a couple small promotions, and lately there's been a bunch of big spot shows run by a couple promoters out of Jersey, but otherwise, when I started, I was one of less than 10 workers up there.
Mostly, Matt, were you one of the only women?
The only.
Yeah, we talked to Dion Russman. The Iceman.
Yep. Oh, I know Dion.
Yeah, he's a good guy. I wanted to lead this spot though. I was curious to find out if you're still teaching kids in China English.
I'm not. I did it during COVID when things got really bad, but with the time difference, that left me working all night long.
Yeah.
And so when there were no shows, that was fine. It didn't matter. But when you're waking up at midnight to teach until 6 a.m. every night,
yeah,
hard to do when you're making towns and doing shows and stuff.
It's so interesting how that all played out, because you were a teacher, you started in journalism, went and then got into education, and then right before the pandemic hit, I guess is the word we'll use. I don't even remember when that was, in March. You had decided to end that journey and start this new wrestling journey. Is that correct? Do I have that right?
That's the exact timeline. So you're right. Corona, we found out that all that, I guess you hit in March, but I had put in my paperwork 2 weeks before to quit my full-time salary teaching job. And as soon as things started getting shut down, I was like, oh, that was dumb. That was horrible timing.
Would you go back and do it differently?
I might have quit teaching a little sooner, but I'm still happy that I did it in general.
Yeah.
Because, that it did kind of leave me with, okay, well, let's make it work. What are we going to do?
Yeah. You also talked about some other podcasts, some other interview things that I listened to, and I'm going to say this word wrong, so I'm going to need you to correct me.
Okay.
Paranoia? The opposite of paranoid.
Yeah. What? You actually were pretty close. Paranoia, yes.
Paranoia. First time I've ever heard that word, and I love the thinking behind it. So, can you explain it to us?
Sure. It's exactly what you said, though. It's the opposite of being paranoid. Instead of just assuming that the universe is out to get you, if you go into situations thinking that the universe is conspiring on your behalf, then generally, even if a situation isn't the way you wanted it, if you're thinking long term, you know what I mean?
Yep.
I really think mindset is big. And so having that mindset really changes how you look at situations.
For sure, yeah. I never heard it. Yeah, but speak it into existence. Because I feel like sometimes I'm overly paranoid about things, and maybe I could just change my mindset.
It's worth a thought.
Right? Why not? You said the only woman up in Alaska training in the wrestling scene. You have a background in sports. How do you go from playing basketball to getting into wrestling? And how are they alike and different?
Um, I wouldn't say they have a ton of similarities, but I played basketball through high school and college and then coached it while I was teaching
Nice.
and always just loved physicality and athleticism. And so just, decided to try wrestling as a hobby and did it casually up in Alaska. Most of the shows were 6 hours from me.
Damn.
So, and that was the main place to train also. It was 6 hours from where I live. So I bought a wrestling ring actually. So I was like, if I'm going to try it, I'll give it a try.
Yeah.
So trained, and the more I did it, I was like, you know what? I don't know if we're swearing, but fuck it.
Fuck it.
I'm going to do it full time. I'm going to try it. Why not?
Physical on the basketball court, you're 6'1". Women's basketball, 6'1".
Yes.
You're down low.
Which is funny. For basketball, I'm actually quite short.
Interesting.
People always talk about how tall I am in wrestling, and I never felt tall because when I played in college, I was the third shortest girl on the team.
Yeah, I suppose.
So I've always been, especially I always played the center position. Yeah. So it was always women that are 6'5", 6'3", and just always taller than me.
Yeah.
And then in wrestling, when everyone's like, "No, you're actually really freaking tall," I was like, "No, not really, but for wrestling, you're right."
So we're gonna get to where I first ran across you. But watching a bunch of your matches today. And over the weekend, how much of what I see, what people see when they go watch your matches, how much of you in the ring is inspired by, who is it inspired by? I get I get a Japan feel when I watch you. Are you inspired by Aja Kong? Bull Nakano?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes, actually. Those are definitely when I first started watching wrestling as someone doing it. Okay. That was my first inspirations. When you're watching wrestling, not for the entertainment value, but watching tape. I definitely watched a ton of Bull Nakano, Aja Kong, Jaguar Yokota. Love Japanese wrestling. So that is extremely flattering. I will take it.
Do you go back and watch tape now?
Of course, yes. Yeah. I think you have to when you're a wrestler. It's hard to watch it the same way.
Right.
You know what I mean? Once the curtain has been opened.
I can imagine.
It's really, yeah, but I still do. I still especially if I have a particular matchup coming up and I want some inspiration, or if I'm looking at trying some new things, I'll go watch things. Or for a while when I was hurt, I had a broken collarbone a few months ago, so all I could do was cardio really. So I would sit on the elliptical or the bike, and I would pick one worker and I would watch them the whole time for a straight hour. I would just watch their matches.
Are you looking for anything specific?
Just kind of seeing. Normally I was picking people that sometimes that I didn't initially like. I would watch them just to see. Okay, maybe, there's clearly something there, especially if it was someone famous that a lot of people liked, someone that just never attracted me. And I'd say, okay, you know what? I'm going to see what they're all about. And I feel like you can always find things that you can learn from other people.
I first saw you on the NWA Circle Squared.
Yes.
That's where I first saw you. That was a nice little show they had. I think they're going to kind of be bringing it back a little bit, maybe with the NWA USA show they got going on. You took on Danny Jordan, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. There's a difference in size right there. How did the whole NWA come about? Because at that time, the NWA was, they were blowing up, I guess is the word I'll use. So how did it come about? Who reached out to you?
They reached out to me on Instagram.
Interesting. They just messaged you on Instagram?
Yeah, Billy Corgan did. And I saw the message and I assumed it was a fake profile, honestly.
Right.
I was like, there's no way he's messaging, a random worker from Alaska. There's just not a chance. And then you go look at the profile and the check mark's there, and you're like, well, shit.
Shit, I
I guess,
better answer.
guess that is real.
Yeah. Oh my god. See, I told you, Vanessa. All we gotta do is message people on Instagram. There's a good way to do it. Get some people on. What'd you take away from that NWA experience?
Honestly, I didn't feel prepared at all to do it.
Okay.
Like, I was super new in my career, but it was one of those things where I was like, this is an opportunity I have. I'm gonna try it. And so I really didn't feel like I did very well after, but I was like, you know what? I've done it. I can only do better from here. And like we were talking about, so I left that situation kind of feeling a little discouraged, but at the same time going, okay, I've worked for a large company, I've worked TV, I can do better now. And so soon after that, after I quit my job and COVID happened, I was reached out to do AEW Dark. Like, and so I was like, you know what, there we go. That's it. That's my
Yeah.
full circle. I know I can do better here because I've done that already.
Yep. And AEW Dark, they have a lot. They have a lot of ties and a lot of people with WrestlePro, which is in Jersey, and then you have WrestlePro Alaska. Who did you wrestle in AEW Dark? Because that match I did not see.
I did twice.
Okay.
I wrestled Shanna,
Yep.
and then I wrestled Ty Conti.
When you come through that curtain at AEW,
Mhm.
who comes up to you, if anybody? Who do you lean on after the match? What advice are you given?
Generally, you go right after. You talk to your agent. You see if what you did is what they wanted, And honestly, when I went was when they were doing the closed tapings
Okay.
in Jacksonville, and so they were filming a lot of matches, and we didn't even wrestle till almost 2, 3 in the morning.
Oh my goodness.
So at that point, you know what I mean? They're trying to get through.
Yeah.
They're trying to knock them out. So they talk to you for a couple seconds, good, bad, and then
Boom, boom. Ship them out. You mentioned agent. I've always wondered this because I've been hearing it more and more. Agents for this match. So the agents for this match. Here on Busted Open a lot. Is the agent like, let's refer to basketball. Is it the coach? Is the agent booking, or is the agent coming up with the plays? Is he, what does the agent actually do?
Generally, your agent will know what the office wants. They'll know what's the business of the match.
Okay.
Like, what do you need to go out there and do? And it all just depends on the show and the company, how much direction they give you. But in general, they say, this is the business we need to put over.
Gotcha. So who is the agent for your match?
Dustin did both of mine.
Oh, Gold Dust.
Which is funny because he is one of my favorite male wrestlers of all time. So that was also like a crazy, like, what are the chances?
Right.
But super nice guy.
Yeah. Speak it into existence, right? The world's not against you. It's for you.
Exactly. There you go. See?
You have wrestled more men than women in your time in the business?
I think lately I have to be more women, but for the first 2 years, definitely more men.
What is the biggest difference? Obviously, besides, well, you can stand up to them, you can hold your own, but as far as how do I want to phrase this? Working the match, what is the difference in the two?
Like you said, it really all depends on size. I think especially with wrestling nowadays, people are more open to intergender wrestling. Like, it's not as uncommon as it once was. And so with any match, regardless of who I'm working, I look at, okay, what's the size difference? And then what style do they work versus the style I work? For example, at WrestlePro Alaska, a few months ago, I worked Maurice Mitchell, Kid Money Mitchell, and he is quite smaller than me, but is an actual MMA fighter. Like, competed in Dana White's Contender Series, like
Nice.
legit badass motherfucker, right?
Yeah.
So even though I'm a lot bigger than him, he comes from a completely different background. So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It didn't really matter male, female. It was like, okay, this is someone who works a completely different style than I do.
You're the queen of the North, but you're also the queen of Ohio in OVW.
OVW is actually in Kentucky.
Is it really? Wait,
Yes, I know.
wait a sec.
Yes.
Ohio Valley Wrestling is in Kentucky.
So this area is called the Ohio Valley.
Ah. You're the queen of Kentucky.
There you go.
You're the queen of OVW. You are the women's champion down at Al Snow's. Phenomenal promotion. What's the biggest thing that resonates most with you from Al Snow? What bits of wisdom has he passed along?
He is extremely smart and has very creative ideas. I think one of my favorite things is we do tape review every week where we'll go back and watch the show with him, and he'll be sitting with the remote, pausing, rewinding, you know what I mean, talking about things. And little tiny nuances that you would have never thought of, he'll point out and say, well, if that person would have done this, they would have gotten this reaction. And everyone sits there and we all go, oh. Wow, yes.
I didn't see that.
Completely right. And so I really just have enjoyed learning from him.
This weekend, the Nightmare Rumble. First, there's gonna be two Rumbles. So the Women's Rumble will determine who your number one contender is going to be.
Yes.
What do you expect to see out of that Rumble? What do you hope to see?
You know, I don't even know everyone who's in it. I know there's going to be some surprise entrants. It's the first Rumble that OVW has done, and I want to say one of the first, if not only, women's Rumbles on the independent scene.
I've never heard of one.
That's what I was saying. We were looking, and I have personally never, but there could have been one. So just in general, you never know what you're going to get. There's a lot of talent in this area, and so I feel like pending, you know, anyone could come out on top.
Well, we're talking to Ari Alexander. I think Ari is how you say her first name, double A, the little hippie herself. We're talking to her a little later tonight. She will be in that Rumble. Yes. So do you have any words for her when I talk to her later?
Ooh. You know, I've faced Ari many, many times at OVW, and if she is smart, she will eliminate herself.
Just jump over the top.
Yep.
Oh, that's funny. Will you be getting in the ring this weekend at the Nightmare Rumble?
You know, I guess we'll find out. You never know what's going to happen at OVW. At the last Rumble we had, I actually competed in their men's Rumble.
Interesting.
So, you know, who knows?
You could show up in that. Yeah.
I don't know.
You don't know.
We'll see what happens this Thursday. Maybe I'll have to have a singles. Who knows?
That's right. This Thursday is the OVW weekly show, 7 o'clock on, I think I can watch it on Fight TV. On Fight, yeah. Yep.
You can watch it live on Fight TV, or it'll come out on YouTube within 2 days after.
Nice. Look forward to that. Oh, I know what I wanted to ask you. So you are the women's champ. You won it. Title on a pole match, I believe. That isn't the question I wanted to ask you. Are you concerned at all that former champion Haley J was stripped of this title and she may be seeking retribution? Will she be at the Rumble this weekend?
I honestly don't know, but I'm ready for Haley J. I would happily face Haley J if she would like me to prove that I earned the title.
Because I mean, I think Al Snow stripped her of that title. I believe I saw a clip of that.
You are correct.
Yes. A lot of so I could see her in that Rumble. She's not in jail. But
She got out for good behavior, I believe.
did she?
Regardless of being stripped of the title.
Good for her.
She served her time.
Good for her. Do you have anything else coming up besides this weekend when you figure out who's going to be a sad victim, your number one contender? You may be in the men's rumble. Do you have anything else coming up?
The next big show that I'm really looking forward to is our next WrestlePro Alaska show.
Is that in April?
It is, and it's our anniversary of 3 years of WrestlePro being in Alaska.
Nice.
So that is going to be a phenomenal show. The card is stacked. Like, normally these shows are stacked, but this one is just like
through the roof. Yeah. Look at that. 3 years. I have you down as facing Scarlett.
Yes.
April 9th at that 3-year anniversary. It'll be one of her first, I think she's had a match since she left the WWE, but that will be interesting. So that will be up in Alaska, WrestlePro, on WrestleMania weekend. So awesome.
Yeah. I think that's the weekend right after WrestleMania.
Is it after WrestleMania? I always know WrestleMania is in April-ish. I never know.
No, I'm pretty sure it's the weekend right after. But yes, right in that WrestleMania time. But I mean, that's going to have tons of former WWE talent, lots of current AEW stars. Like, that's going to be a great show, and will also be live on Fight TV.
Live on Fight, yes. Oh, it'll be live on Fight,
yes, they bring up a whole production crew from New Jersey for these shows, and they are doing multiple cameras. It's called GoPro, but I mean, they're a phenomenal company. So they've got multiple camera angles, graphics, everything.
It's gonna be great. I heard of them. GoPro.
Yeah, they do a lot of shows, but they do a lot of the video work for the Acclaimed in AEW right now as well. Like their music videos, they film a lot of those.
Yep.
So they're great. So excited to have them back in Alaska filming things.
Spectacular. Freya, you've been a pleasure to have on. Vanessa is in love with your earrings. She typed that in chat. I don't know if her mic stopped working, but she is in love with your earrings.
Thank you.
But what we do at the end of every show is I'm going to give you the mic now. You can put yourself over. You can bury anyone you want. You can say anything you want. The floor is yours. Before I hand you the mic, this weekend, January 15th, 8 o'clock, OVW Nightmare Rumble. Will we see Freya in the ring making an impact? You'll have to tune in on Fight. And the floor is yours, champ.
Well, what I have to say goes for more than just Ari.
Ooh.
The best thing all the women in that Rumble can do, if they're really smart, is to throw themselves over. Because what they don't want is a singles match with me later.
No.
They might outlast all the other women, but they will not outlast me.
Well said. Just everyone eliminates themselves.
Yes, they were all complaining an awful lot about what I did to earn the title and everything that I was willing to do at OVW to get myself in the position to win. And if they didn't like that, they are truly going to hate what I have in store for whoever's left.
Yes, I would not want to get in the ring with you. What did you do to earn the title? Because I did not write that down.
Oh, just, inserted myself into situations that people didn't ask me to.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know if you saw that title on a pole match, but I gave it a little jump start. It was moving a little slow, so I had to come out and start it early.
Hey, sometimes you have to do that.
Right? We were on a tight clock, and
yeah,
you got to do what you got to do.
Hey, if you didn't, somebody else would have.
Exactly.
Take what's yours. Freya, you're the champ. You're the queen of Kentucky, as I have learned, and Ohio Valley, and Alaska. You have a lot of monikers now. I've given you all those monikers. You're welcome back anytime. I look forward to this weekend's Nightmare Rumble. I hope to see you in the ring. I hope to see you throw some men out of that Rumble.
We'll see. We'll see if they let me back. I did some damage last time, so I don't know if they want me back in the men's. But, we'll see what happens.
Are people afraid of you?
If they're smart.
Yeah, for sure. As I said, Freya, you're welcome back anytime. Thank you for giving us the time tonight, and can't wait to see what you got coming up.
All right, thank you.
Yep. Have a great night.
You too.
Peace.